Imagine waking up each month knowing that no matter what happens at work, you have a guaranteed amount of money arriving in your account. Not a loan, not charity. Just a baseline of financial security you can count on. For millions of Americans, this is the promise of universal basic income, or UBI. But how close are we to making it a reality? UBI is the idea that every citizen would receive a set amount of money from the government, regularly and unconditionally. The number most often discussed in the US is around $1,000 per month per adult. Supporters see it as a way to reduce poverty, stabilize families, and give people the freedom to pursue more meaningful work. Critics worry about costs, inflation, and whether a program such as this would disincentivize people from working. Before we dive in, if you've ever felt caught in the routine of work but longed for something more, grab my free guide, The Edge of Enough. It's filled with 5 practical shifts to help you create breathing room and begin designing a life that feels meaningful again. You'll find the link in the description below. Welcome to Guts to Grace. I'm Jane, and here we explore what it takes to face uncertainty with guts and how to find grace in the middle of it. Remember that guts help you leap and grace enables you to land. The biggest question around UBI is simple. Can we afford it? Let's look at what the numbers actually say. On the surface, providing every adult in America with $1,000 per month sounds impossibly expensive. A back-of-the-envelope calculation puts the cost at around $3 to $4 trillion per year, almost the size of the entire federal budget. Numbers like that make UBI sound unrealistic. But those headline figures are misleading if we don't consider the other side of the equation. When researchers at the Economic Security Project and independent economists crunched the numbers, they found that a large portion of that cost could be offset. If UBI replaced certain welfare programs, reduced administrative overhead, and was paired with modest tax changes, the net cost could fall closer to $500 to $600 billion per year. That's still a massive investment, but it's comparable to what the US already spends on Medicare. Not to mention the $1.5 trillion we spend on Social Security, $874 billion for the military, or even the $880 billion just to service the interest on our national debt. Critics point out that such a program might create inflation or reduce motivation to work. These concerns come from respected economists and policymakers who worry that injecting trillions of dollars into the economy without equivalent production could drive up prices. Others argue it risks creating dependency on government support. Those critiques are important to acknowledge, but they must be balanced by the savings UBI could create. Less need for overlapping welfare programs, reductions in healthcare costs tied to stress and poverty, and even lower expenditures on policing and crime prevention. Pilot programs help us understand what UBI looks like in practice. In 2022, the city of Minneapolis launched a program providing $500 a month to 200 families for 1 year. The pilot was tracked by the Minneapolis Federal Reserve. After 12 months, participants showed better food security, more stable housing, and reduced financial stress. Importantly, researchers noted no evidence that people worked less because of the payments. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the nation's largest guaranteed income pilot, known as Big Leap, gave $1,000 a month to over 3,200 low-income families. Early results showed improvements in housing stability, reductions in food hardship, and increases in safety and community connection. Once again, fears of decreased employment did not show up in the data. The lesson here is twofold. First, the cost of UBI is large, but not insurmountable when weighed against potential savings. Second, small-scale pilots suggest that families use the money responsibly, often for rent, groceries, or bills, and that fears of people quitting work en masse have not materialized. If you're wrestling with your own "what's next" questions, I've created a free guide called The Edge of Enough. It offers simple, practical shifts to help you rethink balance and meaning in your life. You'll find the link in the description below. Beyond costs, the real question is, what would UBI change? Economic modeling gives us some clues. Researchers at the Penn Wharton budget model simulated versions of UBI and found that, depending on how it's funded, it could boost GDP by up to 6 to 7% in the short term by increasing consumer demand. Families would have more to spend on essentials, which ripples through the economy. Other models suggest that UBI could dramatically reduce poverty and narrow racial wealth gaps, particularly benefiting children, veterans, and people with disabilities. A 2020 analysis projected that child poverty rates could be cut nearly in half under a well-funded UBI plan. We also have human stories from the pilots. In Los Angeles, participants reported fewer missed rent payments and a greater ability to cover unexpected bills. Some finally fixed long-broken cars or bought new appliances, investments that directly improved daily life. Others paid down lingering debt or took time off to care for children. These are not luxuries. They're the basics that create stability. In Minneapolis, many families reported lower levels of stress and anxiety, which researchers linked to improved mental health outcomes. Parents described sleeping better at night, knowing there was enough for groceries. And once again, researchers documented no decline in work hours. That's not to say all the answers are in. These programs were limited in scope, serving hundreds or thousands of people, not millions. To know how UBI might reshape society on a national scale, we need larger and longer-term experiments. The evidence so far is hopeful, but the scale of a nationwide program could produce new challenges and dynamics we can't yet predict. It's easy to get lost in the numbers. Trillions here, billions there. But the heart of UBI isn't about spreadsheets. It's about lives. Imagine what it would mean for a single parent to know that rent could be covered no matter what. Or for someone juggling 2 jobs to finally breathe, cut back a shift, and still have food on the table. Imagine a recent graduate having the courage to take a lower-paying but meaningful job. Or a midlife worker being able to retrain without the fear of losing everything. For many of us, UBI could mean trading survival mode for the chance to pursue education, care for family, or even start something new. Here at Guts to Grace, we talk about the balance of courage and kindness. Guts to leap and grace to land, UBI, at its best, represents that same spirit. It's a policy idea rooted not only in economics, but in human dignity. It says, you matter. Your survival shouldn't depend on luck. And you deserve the stability to take risks, rest when you need to, and find meaning beyond the paycheck. Will it solve every problem? Number. Will it be easy to implement? Absolutely not. But if the goal is to build a society where people can live not just with stability, but with possibility, UBI is a conversation worth having. What about you? Do you think UBI could make a positive difference in your life or in your community? Or do you worry about the trade-offs it might bring? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective may encourage someone else who's wrestling with the same questions. This is Jane with Guts to Grace. Thanks for spending time with me. I love knowing that we're figuring this out together, step by step, reminding you that every step takes guts, and every journey is sustained by grace. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll explore how to reset your energy without burning out. Practical ways to reclaim balance in a world that pushes us to do more, faster,